Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2019 drama Mickey and the Bear.
Is he ever gonna get better?
No. He's not. This is it.
Hey, well, I hope that's not true. I don't think I've peaked yet. Hopefully, I am getting better and better as these reviews go along. I thought Mickey and the Bear was an incredibly good movie. The acting performances are spectacular all around. The movie stars Camilla Monroney as Mickey, Colin Demba as Wyatt, and James Badgedale as Hank. Hank is the father and Mickey is his daughter. This movie has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 75% fresh rating from the audience. I'm currently reviewing every movie that has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes in chronological order, and once I review them all, I will rank them from worst to best. This movie takes place in Montana. Hank is a veteran who has PTSD, and his daughter Mickey is getting ready to graduate high school. She has a scholarship that is not a full ride scholarship, but is going to pay a good portion of the funds so that she can go to college. She is involved in taxidermy on the side, and she, in the beginning of the movie, is involved in a relationship that is not intellectually stimulating to her, and she's kind of falling out of love with this gentleman. It is more of a surface level relationship in which all he really wants is physical is basically sex, and she wants a little bit more than that. So they eventually kind of break up throughout in the middle of the movie. Now, the main point of contention in this movie is that Hank, who is suffering from PTSD, is a bit he is very kind of emotionally abusive to his daughter. He is an alcoholic. He spends a lot of his time playing video games throughout the day. He doesn't work. I believe he's on disability because of his PTSD. And Mickey is all he has in his life. They live together alone. Her mother is no longer alive, no longer in the picture. Hank kind of mourns her throughout the movie and does not want to talk about her and does not want the subject of her to come up at all because it hurts too much. He is very much reserved, keeps to himself, and does not want to lose Mickey. He doesn't want her to move out of the house because he feels like he's going to lose her, and she is all he has. So throughout the movie, when she mentions trying to go to college, when she starts dating another gentleman, and it may look like they're making plans with each other to have a future together, he kind of does dramatic things throughout the movie. These big, he'll go out and have a bender and wind up in jail the next day, or he'll get into some sort of altercation where he gets beat up and he'll go to the hospital, and all of these things force Mickey to baby him, to take care of him, to be that person in his life, and to kind of put the things off that she wants to do because she has to take care of him and she has to be his caregiver and she has to provide the things to him that he needs, almost like she is the parent in this situation where she has to take care of her father. And I think that he does these dramatic things because he is trying to have this emotional hold on her to where she feels like she can't leave and she can't live her life and she can't do what she wants to do because she has to take care of her father. Now, a lot of people would argue that this movie doesn't do anything different because at any point in this movie she could just leave. She has this emotionally abusive father. There's no reason for her to stay. She has this scholarship. She has a future ahead of her. She actually meets a new gentleman in this movie that she starts having feelings for. Now, that ends up going awry. I'll talk about that in a minute. But she has all these avenues that she could pursue where she could get out of the situation. The only problem is that he holds such an emotional such an emotional ball and chain basically on her that she feels like she can't leave, that she feels like if she leaves, then she's going to be hurting her father, and she is all he has. So it is really a tough situation for her, where she wants to get out of the house and she wants to do her own thing, but she also doesn't want to abandon her father, because her father has nothing. He's an alcoholic. He's a drug addict. He was there for her growing up. He is still her father, and it's a hard situation for her. Now, there is a point in the movie where she does fall for another gentleman, and her father, Hank, decides that they're going to go hunting, and while hunting, he does this dramatic thing where he jumps in the water. I don't know if he was actually trying to commit suicide, but he's on this big cliff, and he ends up jumping in this like body of water, and Wyatt, who's the person that she is interested in, he goes in and saves Hank, and then Hank like says, "Did I ask you to save me?" And then he punches him in the mouth. This makes Wyatt end up leaving, because Wyatt said that his parents were also the same way, were also like this, where they argued all the time, they fought all the time, they were dramatic like this. He doesn't want to be in this kind of situation again, so he ends up leaving, and Mickey doesn't have any correspondence with him again. And this is the kind of things that Hank is doing. He is making it impossible for Mickey to leave, because whenever she has an opportunity to leave, an opportunity to be excited about her future and be excited about her life, he ends up bringing her back into his life, into his emotional wreck of a life, where he is, obviously he has PTSD, but he is a miserable person. He's living a miserable life, and he keeps bringing her back into his miserable life so that she can't leave. I think why this is so impactful for me, and why I like this movie so much, is because I have a brother who puts me in the same situation all the time. I lived with my parents and my family for a very long time. I was considered very old when I left my house, but my brother is much older than I am, and he was still living with my parents as well. And when I was getting ready to move out of the house, and I finally was able to get the courage and the strength to leave my house, he told me that I was abandoning the family, that he should have been the one who moved out first. And there was this big guilt trip that he had over me. And for years, even after I moved out of my house, I felt guilty about it. I felt guilty about maybe like I wasn't going to be able to financially contribute like I used to when I was with my family. I wasn't going to be able to help them like I used to, that they were going to suffer because I moved out of the house. And it really is a hard situation, especially when you're a caring person like she is. She is a deeply caring person in this movie. She cares about her father a lot. And when you're a deeply caring person like that, you really do shoulder a lot of the responsibility on yourself. Like, this is a situation that you need to help with. This is a situation that you need to try to fix. And I shouldered that same responsibility when my brother was guilt tripping me about moving out of the house. Like, I shouldn't do this because I am going to destroy the fabric of our family. A family is supposed to be a unit that stays together, that helps each other out, that, fights with each other, not fights with each other, but fights for each other, and, is there when you need them. And he made me feel like I was abandoning all that, and I made me feel like I was abandoning all that too. It took me a lot of therapy and a lot of years of a lot of working on myself to realize that he was the one who was in the wrong, that he was the one who messed up his life, that he was the one who didn't take the opportunities that he could have in life. But I feel like I really understood what Mickey was going through here, and the feelings that she was going through, and the responsibility that she was shouldering on herself, and why she wasn't able to leave the situation that she was in, until at the end of the movie there's finally like this grand thing, this like the final straw type of thing that does push her out of the house, where she realizes that this is a situation that's not going to get better, and this is a situation that she needs to leave and get out of, and she finally is able to do that. And I felt like I had that same kind of I wait for that same kind of times in my life. When I quit my last job, I was I was very unhappy in my job for a very long time. And everyone just said, well, why don't you just leave it? Why don't you just quit? And I said, well, maybe it's going to get better. Maybe if I stick around and I really try, and I felt I was trying, but if I stick around, things will get better eventually. Things will work itself out. And it had to have this big grand thing that happened to finally push me out of my job. And I felt like that's what she needed too. She needed that final push to really tell her that things weren't going to get better, and to really show her that she's better off on her own. There's a really sad scene in this movie where she thought that her mom had left her some money when she passed away, and it was supposed to be in the bank account. She was going to use that money to help pay for her school with the scholarship, and her dad stole all the money, and which is another way he was using to keep her in the house with him and not let her go off on her own. Not only was he emotionally abusive to her, to where he was emotionally keeping her where she was, but he also was keeping her financially there because she couldn't afford to get on her own. But then at the end of the movie, even though she probably couldn't afford to get out to go to college, and she just realized she just had to do it because there wasn't going to be a situation where things were going to get better and she was actually going to have the money to do it and have the means to do it. She just needed to get out of that house and do it. And at the end of the movie, I was really happy about that. The end of the movie to me was starting to go down this path where she wasn't going to leave, where she wasn't going to try to go out on her own, where she wasn't going to have that courage and that strength, and she was just going to stay with her father forever. And I was like, this is not the way this movie can end, because I really cared for her as a character. I really felt for her. Like I said, I felt like I knew what she was going through, and I just could not see her stay in that situation. That would have been such a tragic ending, but she ended up getting out of that situation, and I thought the ending of the movie was fantastic. I didn't think it was fantastic what eventually pushed her out of her house, but I thought it was fantastic that she was finally able to get out on her own, and whatever that means. Obviously, this is going to be a hard situation for her. It's going to be a really tough life going forward because she does not have the means that she needs to survive. She doesn't have the money that she needs to survive. But she is hopefully going to eventually be in a better situation without her father. Her father is not going to get better. Her father is not going to be able to be like a normal human being in society. He's always going to be damaged, and being damaged isn't a bad thing, but being damaged and not being able to do anything to better yourself, not trying to get better, and then also making life miserable for your daughter is not acceptable. And I was happy at the end of the movie that she was able to get out of that situation. And I thought, I don't know how real this movie is about PTSD, if it treats PTSD fairly, because I've never had to deal with PTSD. But I thought that the situation that she was in I thought it was done very well. I thought the entire movie was done very well. It is a bleak, sad movie, but I just really felt like I understood her character and what she was going through, and I give the movie a 9 out of 10. I really thought it was good. I hope you join me next time when I review a movie that is called Chained for Life.